What's up? How we doing, chat? Another day, another stream, W Daily Streamer. We got a big show tonight that I'm very excited for. Reminder, if you want access to all the streams, all the people who stumble in here from different places, join the locals, press the join button right here, and you'll get access to my entire library of live streams that gets uploaded afterwards. What's up, Aussiness, Denzel, Alex, Ansor, username, Sam, Flo. What's good? W Prime, username, Lporn. Lporn. No bidding you meet all 2020-2023. I worked out again today. Another great workout session with Steve will do it. Hit shoulders and back, getting big back. Is everything good? Can you type of one if you can hear me? Everything good? W Streamer, yeah. What's up, mellow fellow? We have a great interview. I'm supposed to be interviewing Ryan Dawson, a supposed anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist, racist, homophobic, problematic, and he's censored off of everything. But he recently just got back on Twitter because of Elon Musk. Even though he's trying to plug chips into our brains, he did free a lot of the soldiers back. And if you guys don't know who he is, I am sure, I'm really confident. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. The autistic schizos who have been watching my stream since BotTube, they've been telling me to interview him. So I am excited about it. I spent today. Also, I'm going on Fresh and Fit later. I'm going to be replacing Fresh. Fresh is stuck twerking in Barbados. So I was wondering if I should show up with the monkey mask and a banana. But you know, maybe not. Type of one if I should show up in a monkey mask and eating a banana because I'm co-hosting Fresh and Fit tonight. Yes, no? Since 2017 here. What's up, Nico from Space Bro? Streaming while I was working out. Hope you have a good workout. This is going to be high energy regardless. But yeah, this is going to be a high energy stream, of course. Yes, sir. Do it. Monkey mask and banana. Okay, there's a lot of ones. Yo, you racist fucks. You racist cunts. Monkey mask. Myron's going to be like, oh, make sure to check us out on Anchor, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to go, and in blackface. So, ladies, last thoughts on the show? Like for Gurf. Nah. 20 push-ups right now? No, suck my dick, bro. I'm early. I am 20 minutes early. I got to do negative push-ups right now. Actually, I should drink some soy milk because I'm early to lose testosterone. War racist is your idea? Well, you guys should have said two. You fucking racist fucks. You should have been like, no, monkey mask is racist. W early stream, what's up? Yeah, so at 8 o'clock, I went early because I wanted to talk to you guys and look at memes a little bit before we get to Ryan Dawson. It's going to be a good interview. I want everybody, even if, bro, all the fucking people, skip, you ADHD, low fucking energy chat people who just want me to yell about feminists nonstop. I am really looking forward to this interview specifically. I interview people professionally. I would say that I'm a professional interviewer after the 1 Minute Podcast, which I am planning. I was just talking to my Discord about the next 1 Minute Podcast and how I should ask questions about the vaccine. I'm looking forward to that, making another 1 Minute Podcast video. I've been apprehensive to do it because of the ban and it's because it's harder. But the Rumble's really picking up steam, so I feel confident in investing time into making a video on Rumble again. But yeah, if you want to be able to talk to me, Discord link in description. That's where all the memes are at and everything like that. Gada boom, there's my ugly face. And also, yeah, the Creativity Kit is dropping. And how long? I think a week from today. We're doing a lot of hard work on that, making sure that the 1,000 members who are going to join. What's a little bit annoying sometimes when all the super chatters or the Rumble ranters or when I'm talking in Discord, people are like, bro, can I ask you some advice? And bro, all of that is meant for the Creativity Kit. That's the whole point of that course. It's $50 a month so you can learn how to make money online. I'm the professor of content. We're bringing on crypto professors, e-commerce professors, web design, sales, every type of person, like copywriting. I want to be able to teach all different wealth creation methods and have a lesson every single day. That's what I'm striving for. But I'm the professor for content creation. So if you have questions about that, like just go to the Creativity Kit. Don't waste my time in there. In the Discord, I'm just trying to talk about like, I want your advice on like content about the vaccines and stuff like that. Who is the person who's going to interview? Okay, actually, instead of looking at low IQ memes, well, we can look at that for a second. Maybe I'll go to his website because today I was doing a bunch of research chat. And you know what? Okay, let me pull up his site before we get into the interview. And also I need to DM him. After yesterday's stream, it's like I felt so low energy after looking at feminists talk about she, they, them for a while. And it's like, bro, I feel like I should, not even I feel like, but I want to get into bigger subjects, you know? Like instead of just talking about feminism over and over again, there's bigger problems that I'm canceled now. So these are the type of people I want to talk to. Yo, some faggot mod in your Discord banned me for no reason last year. Who do I DM for unban? DM, just fucking, bro, I don't know. Why I gotta interrupt this whole thing because you got banned for saying the N-word? Make a new account, cunt. Make a new account. Like, why are you interrupting my stream? I'm trying to talk about, bro, why can't I say race? Why can't I don't want to get banned on Discord. Yeah, but after the stream yesterday, facts, something that matters to more people. Yeah, I want to have more intellect, because I can yell about feminism for a while. I could talk about fat phobia and gender fluid bullshit, but I want to spend more time, like once a week. So before all the normies came into Rumble, when it was like right after I was banned, we were fucking schizo for like a month straight before we had more people in here. L video quality, video quality is fine. L early stream, love you too, Toby. It was autistic schizo. We were doing conspiracy night. It was just really, it was like, bro, we were being way more problematic, toxic, just saying faggot every other word. But people were saying gas the Jews in the chat, so I had to go and take that down. I had to crack down on that more because I don't want to build that reputation. There's more important things to talk about, and it's just that's stupid. But now that there's more people on Rumble, it's like I want to take a bigger opportunity to spend one stream a week learning more, getting better at debating, learning more about geopolitics, and diversifying my red pill portfolio. Because I can talk about feminism, and I'm going to host Fresh and Fit tonight, so I'm going to be able to, that shit is like, in my opinion, that's the normie part of the red pill. I want to learn more about like what's really going on around the world. If you guys want that, like maybe one, of course we're looking at low IQ memes too. Shit.
What is this?
Wi-Fi slow as shit today.
It's great for socials. I should do it.
Kiss. All right. Kiss. Do I put my arm around you?
I'll
do we embrace?
Big fat kiss.
And just a peck, right? No tongue.
No tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you're looking at me so intimately, bro. Don't treat me like one of your MILFs. Something happened between me and Hila. I don't know how to say this, but there was some infidelity. She took the kids and she's moved out.
Is this real?
I just want to say, like, we didn't like have sex. I just want to say that, like, it was more of an emotional connection we had, which treat me like one of your MILFs.
Oh, okay. All right. Weird. Yeah, we can do low IQ stuff, but once a week, and I want you to hold me accountable to that. We can look at stupid shit like this and go, Bumbaclaw! And I can fall out of my chair and be like, oh my God, what is soy boy? But I think that's the benefit of me being me not being an autistic smart. Yeah, I would consider myself kind of smart, but there's a lot of people that I talk to that are much smarter than me, and they don't know how to communicate with people in the mall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll walk into an In-N-Out with Nick Fuentes or some autistically level smart person, and people come up and be like, yo, watch your videos all the time. Like, I resonate with people who are like trying to get in the gym, normies on TikTok. Yo, you're the eyelash guy. You're the one who makes fun of girls. And then the smarter people that they're smarter than me, I'm sitting next to them and nobody knows who they are. So I can be like that liaison. And I think that's why a lot of like extremely smart people want to talk to me, because they understand that I have the capabilities to reach a big audience, like entertainment wise and stuff like that. I could do impressions and shit like that. But people also recognize that I'm able to influence. So this interview with Ryan Dawson, okay, let me before, because most of you, type of one if you know who he is, type of one if you know who Ryan Dawson is. He's extremely censored. He's banned off of everything. He just got back on Twitter, banned off of YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. He's on fucking Odyssey, Rumble, Cozy TV, stuff like that. He's not really publicized at all. And it's mostly for talking about Israel, stuff like that. Even though I listened to a lot of his work, I was listening to a lot of his debates today, and he has no idea. Look, people are typing LMAO because, like I just, whoa, fuck, I do that. I'm good at that. A lot of twos. You don't know who it is? I've heard the name. I don't know who he is though. So I spent a lot of today like watching his debates, watching his documentaries too. What is his website? And hold on, let me pull it up. Silly Sneako. Yo, and then people in their 30s will be in my chat. Yo, do the Lee thing. I like when you do the fucking eyelashes, bro. And I'm like, bro, am I the fucking eyelash guy? Am I the eyelash guy? Am I that dude? Go down to the pond if you're gonna act like a silly goose. Yeah, look at people's chat. Andrew Tate impression right now. My unmatched perspicacity coupled with my Bugatti makes me a sphered sparkling water and haram. You know? Ha ha! Whoa! How, Sway? You ain't got the answers, Sway. Maybe I should just let Sneako be Sneako. You know? You know? Sneako? Okay. Sneako, eyelash guy, Hubert. Yeah. So, this is one of those streams. All right. I want to pull up his thing. I was watching his, okay, he's ready to go. Yeah, he's been on Discord too, bro. I think he had to get a, well, I'm exposing him, but yeah, he had to get a burner. Hopefully, I really want this interview to go well because I was watching his work today. He was talking about the Iran-Contra, and he basically confirms all of my conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but with actual data and evidence and stuff like that. And I'll go into a debate or something like that. I'll be like, the government's spying on us. And they're like, how? They're eating babies on an island, you know, stuff that like we know is true, but he will say it properly. So hopefully this turns out into something where I could regularly bring him on. And see, now people are like, Peter Griffin impression, talisman impression. I'm trying to talk about Iran-Contra. I'm trying to talk about the anthrax and 9/11. I'm trying to talk about the dancing Israelis. I'm trying to talk about who really assassinated JFK. I'm trying to talk about the deals that are being made inside of America to pass the atomic bomb. And then people are like, oh, do the Peter Griffin voice. Talk about 9/11. Lois, I want to take the red pill. Hold on, you early, bro? Yeah, I am early. So you, chat, you owe me 12 push-ups because I'm early. L early, you do the push-ups now. Sticko, no. Shout out to Stinko keeping up the fitness journey and no one eats babies. That is cartoon level stuff. Actually, that's not true. They do eat babies on an island. It's this thing called adrenochrome, and they get adrenaline from like the blood is different when they eat a baby. You know, it preserves your youth. Lois, they're eating babies on an island. Epstein touches kids. And then look at these fucking people in chat. Do the voice. Sneako, I'm passing the torch to you. I can't be sick in bed. My friend Sneako's here. Get the cigars and a whiskey. I'm Talisman. Yeah, I'm good at that. And then it's encouraged by like the low attention span of Gen Z, you know, because the chat's like, watch some memes. 12 done. Good shit. Who's done? David's done. You did your push-ups. I've been having really great workouts with Steve. Doing one tomorrow. I woke up early today too. I usually wake up at like 1 p.m., but I woke up early to go get this workout done.
You there? I'm Hassan Piker, and this is Bro Tip. This week's Bro Tip is about bringing out the alpha male in you. A few things to consider when you think about Lady Gaga as a top contender for Babe of the Week should be the fact that she might have a penis. The fact that Lady Gaga might have a small penis does absolutely terrify me. Here's why the 5-second rule works. Because when you start thinking for longer than 5 seconds, you're immediately not thinking with your dick and also thinking with this pesky thing up here that we like to call our brains. So once you start thinking with your brain, you're immediately going to psych yourself out. Come back again next week when we discuss the legendary question of all time. Old enough to count, old enough to mount? Question mark?
Okay, I think this was all ironic though.
I am sorry, my mentor.
What the fuck is this lag, bro?
I have failed you.
Mais je n'ose pas, lui qui me fait tourner dans le vide, tourner dans le vide.
Bugatti.
No.
Yeah, there you go. What's your PC specs? Got to do you pre-ban from P2P and watch the streams? Not gonna lie, I never thought you get banned, but you called it. I told you I get banned. Got banned off everything, man. And Twitch is the #1 thing that they're not gonna talk about. And this is why, like, I think I could do a good mix of. Ghost says, I've been waiting to hear some conspiracy stuff from you because I see the chat talking about reptiles and shit. Went down a rabbit hole the other day on that stuff. Curious to what you think. Yeah, it's good. So see, this is the balance. This is the balance. This is how you red pill to people. You play shit like this.
No.
And then you talk about reptiles in the same stream. So then all the fucking retards are XD funny, humping, jerk off, and then I get someone on Smart to talk about the reptiles. Niggas are gonna be nutting on her son's face. Yeah, why would you get that on your back?
Roderick's gonna be the one to fall, not me.
Well, you're a fucking hater, bro.
You're dealing with India. We're a big country. We're not your satellite state. So don't lecture us on what we need to do. We're going to look out for yourself. You use the phrase geopolitical expediency in place of values. You lecture me as an American to an Indian on values, and you say that we are acting in geopolitical expediency. Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete, sir. Allow me to complete. Where were your values? Where were your values? Where were your values when in the first 2 months of the US invasion of Iraq?
Where were your values?
7,186 Iraqi civilians were direct casualties of the war. Was that your expediency? Was that an expression of your values, Professor Kapchan?
Great. What hoodie was it? Bro, you know what fucking hoodie it was? One of my old merch hoodies, chat. One of my old merch hoodies.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no. Fuck, man. Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn
House, wait. You came in with a cream hoodie. All right. I didn't think that you guys were going to get fucking video evidence of that. At least you know I'm not a bullshitter. What is this, man?
House, wait.
What is this?
Big news! First piece of big news, I got my voice back! Yeah! Second piece of big news.
Why did a lot of these OG YouTubers like Jenna Marbles, this dude, get fat as fuck?
Oh my gosh.
We're getting married!
Ah!
Ah!
May the tears I cried in 2020-22 lube the cheeks I clap in 2020-23. Elf fornication. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I'm another version of you. I need you to get my message across. I think you could help a lot. No, fuck. No. Bro, another more schizo shit. Yeah, I was talking about this with, I think Myron or Destiny or someone, but I was talking about like Soapy Steve. How like people will go in my Rumble rants and talk about, bro, let me move in with you. I sell soap as a side hustle. I need to teach you about soap. I should move in with you. And then this dude just said, I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I'm another version of you. I need to get my message across. I think I could help you a lot. Sneako X my Lien. Bro, I am not fucking meeting you. You fucking dummy. Are you dumb? Jen, you gave me $2 and you think that it's just in the middle of me watching autistic memes, I'm just gonna go, I need you to get my message across? I don't give a fuck about your message. Do you see like how it becomes, the parasocial relationship kind of goes apart? Compared to like Fresh and Fit, people will donate $500 and be like, yo, exposing female delusion, she's a 5, she's a 4. Like they'll contribute to the conversation. People will donate $2 in my stream and be like, say what I believe. I'm you. What the fuck are you talking about? What's with these Steve people, bro? What is with these schizo? Like, just imagine this person like, I'm another version of you. I need you to get my message across. I think I could help you. Just alone in there. I could get my message across. A flying raptor. His name is Robert Paulson. Say his name. W early stream. Bro, these people, you need some friends, bro. I'm not your friend, man. I'm not your friend. I know we're family in here. We joke around. But when you start saying like $2, I need you to get my message across. Bro, are you like actually retarded? Fuck me, man. Okay. Ryan Dawson's here. I'm done with this shit, bro. I'm going interview mode. No more fucking stupid. Whoa! No more soapy Steve. Let me have an actual conversation with somebody intelligent instead of fucking these retards in here, bro. Just fucking. But that's what happens when you speak directly to the camera. You get those people like, he's gonna change my life, bro. No, fuck off. Man, damn, bro. How many more times are these schizos don't need to make fun of you? At least some people get it in the chat. All right, W Daily Stream. Ryan Dawson's coming on. It's going to be good. I am very excited for this interview. For the people that don't know him, he's extremely intelligent, and I think this conversation will be worthwhile. This is going to be like my Joe Rogan type thing. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Type of one if you know who he is. All right, let me call him. Parix Mike says 20 squats, bro. I'm not squatting for you. I'm not squatting for you, bro. Dude just donated $5 to see a man squat. The fuck is wrong with you, man? Okay. Too autistic right now. Too schizo right now. Autism's good. Okay. All right, let's get into it. And also, by the way, chat, Fresh and Fit at, I'm going Fresh and Fit co-hosting tonight.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
There you are. Is my camera up?
I
see it doing the dots right now.
Yeah, it's loading.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Odd. I don't see light on either. Make sure it's not being grabbed by any other program. Don't think so.
Just check your settings real quick.
Yeah, because it's a brand new Discord. Again. Let's see. Appearance, no voice and video. I see what it is.
Oh, he's gone.
Now. No?
No, I don't see it.
Go back in the settings.
I'm gonna meet.
Test video.
Chat. Okay. He's figuring it out. Sneako, I'm in the dandruff business. I think we would be good together and make hella money. Let's move in together. Hashtag dandruff Danny. No. Okay, loading. Hey. Yes, working.
Okay, your audio went out for a second. I was like, damn it, one on, other off. Now it's all good.
I was just muting you and talking to my chat. I was explaining and trying to give him a little bit of context of you before I got into this interview. I've been really looking forward to interviewing you for a long time. I spent today like in coffee shops with a whole pot of coffee, just watching your documentaries, watching your debates, learning about like what you talk about. Because, you know, I would consider you a red pill person. Maybe you don't like to use that terminology, but you get to the truth. And so like the stuff I talk about is pretty surface level for the most part. I want to get into bigger subjects. And so your documentary about I think it's called NUMEC.
Yeah,
that was really good.
That stands for the Nuclear Equipment and Material Corporation. It's pretty fact heavy, but that's how the truth is.
So you're in Tokyo, right? You're in Japan?
I'm in Japan, but I'm down in Osaka right now.
Is that because the U.S. government would try to do something to you?
Well, they definitely would, but I left a long time ago. I left when George Bush got reelected.
Oh, that's a while ago.
I mean, they elected him even after the Iraq War and after knowing it was based on lies. And so I was just done.
What got you censored off of all social media platforms?
hard to say because I talk about everything that's taboo. So I got kicked off MySpace back in 2005. I got kicked off YouTube for the first time back in 2008. And that just wasn't happening to people back then, right? Around 2016 or so, you saw other people getting censored, maybe 30 days on Facebook or something. But I've been getting censored for over 20 years.
Yeah, MySpace is different. I thought that the censorship stuff was pretty recent, but to think that it's been going on since 2005 is, what were you talking about back then?
9/11. I mean, that I was doing September 11th in the adult way, not the silly airplane denial, bomb on every floor kind of way. And so that got me a lot of heat. I got death threats. I also got kicked off America Online, which back then was a big deal because that was basically the internet.
My bad. So what's your criticisms? Before I was banned on YouTube, I watched the entire the new Pearl Harbor documentary. I even had a debate with Nick Fuentes and Destiny about it. I thought that there was a lot of good information in there, and apparently they were even quoting you. Can you tell me why that's inaccurate?
They use clips more by deception. It's not bad. It's nowhere near as bad as Loose Change or some of the other 9/11 films, but they made some claims in there saying like, "Oh, there's no evidence these hijackers got on the planes." That's just false. There's video evidence of them going through security, getting on the airplane. Like you don't base it on, oh, they found a very improbable unburned passports. Like I agree that's not impossible, but pretty far-fetched. But that's not what the case rests on. And it's the stuff they didn't say that's more important than the things they said that they got wrong. So
what did they say?
It's also there a lot about the Israeli. They did do a little bit on the Saudi connections. I think that film did talk about Osama Basnan and Omar Bayoumi being intermediate middlemen that were helping finance the hijackers and give them logistical support. But a lot of the Israel stuff was missing. The most glaring thing about 9/11 that no one talks about is the bioweapons attack of anthrax that happened on the heels of 9/11. Right? They sent anthrax letters out. They tried to kill Senator Leahy. They tried to kill Senator Daschle. And the notes on there said, "Death to America, death to Israel." And this is one of the reasons we went to war in Iraq. One of the Iraq was accused of breaking a UN resolution 1441 that said they couldn't possess weapons of mass destruction. And one of the claims of the types of weapon of mass destruction they were supposedly had was anthrax and BX gas, allegedly in these mobile weapons labs. And the source for that was saying that senior Iraqi officials met in Prague and gave vials of anthrax to Mohammed Atta, who's the lead hijacker and the pilot of Flight 11 that hit the North Tower. None of that happened because there was no meeting in Prague, and Iraq didn't have anthrax, and neither did Al-Qaeda. But that was the source of falsely linking Iraq to 9/11 by saying, well, they may have given these hijackers anthrax. And it also falsely accused Iraq of having anthrax at all, which is the WMD, because they didn't. And they didn't have mobile weapons labs. But you look at who told those lies. The Israeli security forces said they witnessed this meeting. The Israeli security forces couldn't have witnessed the meeting because there was no meeting. It was just a bold-faced lie. But the man they sent, the former DCI head director of the CIA, James Woolsey, is the person that relayed that information back to the American press. And he's an Epstein guy, right? The American press picks it up. The first newspaper in the United States to report on it was the New York Observer, which is owned by Charles Kushner, the guy that's Jared Kushner's father. He went to jail for a number of reasons, including setting up hunting traps on his own brother-in-law. Real classy guy. But he's a Jewish billionaire, and he owns these papers, and they all reiterated the same nonsense about Atta went to Prague. And then the note said, "Death to America, death to Israel." And it just wasn't true. They were celebrating the attacks. We had the Miami field office, the FBI field office, contact the Newark office in New Jersey and explain that some of the 9/11 hijackers had been moved by these moving companies that the FBI had arrested up in New York and New Jersey. See, there were 3 men who were caught on 9/11 celebrating the attack and filming the World Trade Centers on fire. and they stayed there because there was 2 attacks, because after one plane hit, another plane hit. How would you know another plane was coming, right? Oh, that looked like a terrible accident. It could be an act of terrorism, but why are you going to linger around, wait for the next one? They leave. They go back to their urban moving systems. They're dancing on the roof and taking pictures and high fives. That's an odd way to act when you just saw a terrible, at minimal, a horrible plane crash.
That's what the dancing Israelis. That's what the dancing Israeli thing is.
That's part of it. They often say it was 5 dancing Israelis. It's 5 men who got arrested. It was 3 men who were caught celebrating the attacks. But they went and picked up 2 other guys later at another moving company. So the Israelis had 6 moving companies that were spying on Al-Qaeda. Spying / kind of COINTELPRO, moving them around, because our own FBI in our own documents and our own Senate investigation report admitted that they were giving them logistical support. They were living next door to these people. They're celebrating the attacks. All 5 of them had different stories. All failed their lie detector test. Paul Kursberg, the ringleader and the oldest guy in the group, refused to take a test for 70 days and then still failed it. But a lot of Israeli pressure got these guys out of jail. But in the moving van, they had a notebook of numbers of the other moving companies. Plus, they just visited one of them, White Glove Movers, and passed off a videotape there. And so through those numbers, they know about the other companies. And then they went in and talked to the employees that work there and everything, and uncovered this giant ring. The moving company business was just a front. I mean, they did move furniture and stuff, but it was just a way of being able to get access in and out of buildings with heavy equipment, and just saying, well, and dollies and things, say, well, we're just moving furniture and stuff. That would allow you, for example, into the World Trade Centers, if you were there to move out a tenant like Zim Shipping, which did move out of the World Trade Center just weeks before September 11th and is 50% owned by the Israeli state. And we had another thing that's not in the new Pearl Harbor or any other 9/11 film, is the fact that there was a group of men busted red-handed and went to prison for doing illegal work in the World Trade Centers just prior to 9/11. They got caught in a sting in Tennessee at a DMV where they're acquiring. Back then, you didn't need a social security number in Tennessee to get a driver's license. And Tennessee is also the hub of a lot of shipping companies like Aero Trucks, FedEx, all the big cars. And what they do is you buy something from Aero Trucks, you slap a logo on it, and there's your moving van, right? So they're down there getting fake IDs because you do need driver's licenses and things to have a trucking company. They had bought an employee at the DMV a car as a bribe. Her name was Catherine Smith. And there was a separate sting operation on this illegal ID theft. They happened to catch about 6 of them in the parking lot. And then one of them, the guy's name is Sakura Hamad, he had a pass in his wallet, like on his person. He was carrying around a pass to do work in the World Trade Center dated September 5th, 2001. Like 6 days before 9/11. They say, well, what were you doing in the World Trade Center? Oh, we were working on the fire prevention systems. And they're working for a company called Denko Mechanical Magic Heating and Plumbing. It didn't exist. It was just some guy's residential address in New York. So you have a fake fire prevention company. By the way, that they even fake fire suppression credential letters, like they wrote them themselves. Denko did, Sergey Denko and a guy named David Cornell. And I have all these documents on my website. I think no one's interested in this stuff because 9/11 got kookified by people like Alex Jones. But anyway, these guys did illegal work in the World Trade Center, and an FBI agent, Susan Nash. By the way, Catherine Smith was murdered the day before her trial, burned to death in the car that they had given her. Burned so bad her arms fell off, and they found traces of gasoline in her clothing. So she was murdered. They didn't do it. They were all incarcerated at that point. Khalid Oldallah, the ringleader, somebody paid a $250,000 bail and got him out, and he fled back to Jerusalem. Now, what kind of truck driver for a moving company has $250,000 cash? Not many, unless they have some other side business or tied to intelligence. They got him out. They let the others rot in jail, but they weren't interested because they said, look, if you really did have a company, maybe the company was fake, but you did do work on fire suppression systems, then the Port Authority would have had to given that the okay, because they still did those contracts. Even though they'd sold the properties to Larry Silverstein, the PA is in charge of all those properties, World Trade Center 6 and 7 as well. And they hadn't hired anyone. So they said a tenant must have done it. I don't think they were there to work on the fire suppression systems. I think they were there to sabotage the fire suppression systems, which maximized the damage caused by the fire of the airplane. There's also evidence by our own chief of police and the chief of the fire department saying that, and this was announced on September 11th by two media personalities, Rick Sanchez and Pat Dawson, said police have found what they describe as a suspicious device in a van, an explosive basically, in a van parked in the parking garages of the World Trade Center, and they towed it out to the Church of Dades, which is like 2 blocks away. So apparently what may have happened on September 11th was, in addition to the planes hitting, the sprinkler systems have been sabotaged, and there may have been some kind of van or truck bombs in the parking garages in the basement levels below the building that went off at the same time, which does corroborate a lot of witnesses hearing secondary explosions and the subway full of smoke. And this is, I mean, the fire department said it, the police said it, the media said it, and then it all got memory hold. Then you find the Israelis with these moving company vans who are all over the place and celebrating the attacks and failing lie detector tests, and then later the Israeli state lying and connecting the whole thing to Iraq, and our own FBI admitting they gave logistical support to hijackers. So at minimal, they had foreknowledge. It seems like they were complicit to some degree on at least assuring that the event happened and did maximum damage. And then also when you look at Al-Qaeda itself, it's never, from its inception to now, been completely separate from intelligence agencies. So I think 9/11 was more akin to Iran-Contra, where publicly we denounced it. We denounced the Contras, and secretly we were arming them and training them and giving them flight schools. September 11th, they trained inside the United States. They got fast-track visas in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And the employees are saying, what's going on? 2 of these guys are in the USS Cole bombing. They've been terrorists in Bosnia. Why are they allowed to get a visa? Why are they living in California? Why hasn't Interpol arrested these people? And it was worse than that, because we turned out for 3 guys, Hanji Hanjor, Noifa Hazmi, and Khalid al-Midhar, they were a Saudi GID agent, which is like Saudi Arabia's CIA, lived with them, bought them a house, lived there for a month, and then moved next door, right? Even got one of them a job at a gas station. They funneled money through Bandar Bush, who was the head of Saudi intelligence, Prince Bandar. His wife sent money to the wife of an intermediary. Her name was Moeed Nalket, married to Omar Bayoumi. She sent money to Osama Basnan's wife, who again wrote checks through Riggs Banks directly to 9/11 hijackers. So they had a salary through intermediaries linked straight to Saudi intelligence. Saudi Arabia is not going to do that without a green light from Uncle Sam. Too much risk with zero reward. But then you look at the close relationships. I mean, there's a reason he's nicknamed Bandar Bush. They needed people who spoke Arabic, who were familiar in the region, who could recruit these people who had already infiltrated bin Laden's cells. And they, in my opinion, they fostered these attacks. Like, it was a real attack, a real plan. Ramzi Youssef had attacked the World Trade Center before in 1993. There's all these warnings, and you really have to come down to whether it was enormous incompetence on the part of no one seeing any of these red flags, like, oh, they're going to flight schools. There's a plan from 2000 to hijack planes and hit targets. They'd hit the World Trade Center in the past, and they're claiming they couldn't imagine that this scenario. That's either enormous incompetence or it's complicity. I mean, the CIA had tracked these guys to an Al-Qaeda summit meeting in Malaysia, and I believe this is in New Pearl Harbor, this part. But they stayed there for 3 days. They're there with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, KSM, mastermind in 9/11. Are they arrested? No. How about when they land and start living in Los Angeles? Did they get arrested then? No. They didn't even inform the FBI until August, when they were no longer in the West Coast. And the way the FBI is divided, it has little regional field offices. So the office, the West Coast offices don't overlap with the East. So they're no longer there. They're in New York and Florida by that point. And they weren't sharing information. The NSA had bugged the phones at the cell in Yemen and did not share that with the CIA or the FBI. Why? They want plausible deniability. They're not sharing this information. This was the excuse for why they needed to create another agency, the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, to help communicate between all the different branches. Well, the lack of communication wasn't the problem. The problem was no one was interested in arresting these people because 9/11 allowed an excuse, a budgetary excuse, to replace the Cold War with this war on terror and invade all these countries in the Middle East, Israel's enemies in particular. And my part on it, and people can talk about the physics of the buildings and stuff. I don't get into that much because I feel like it's been done to death by everyone else. But 100% they falsely attached Iraq to September 11th, and we invaded a sovereign nation over nothing and killed 1 million people. And that's the kind of stuff that will get you banned.
So I'm supposed to push back on you when you say this so that I also don't get put on a no-fly list or targeted? Because, I'm a little bit apprehensive.
Yeah, that whole thing was, I was talking about Minecraft, of course.
Okay. Okay. They killed 1 million Iraqi people. What's your credibility?
Yeah.
I've listened to a lot of your debates, and your knowledge of geopolitics is, I've never heard someone be able to talk this uninterrupted about everything going on in the world. What's your, for the people that don't know, I didn't even introduce you as your name.
I can source everything I just
Ryan
said.
Dawson, by the way. But what's your how are you so knowledgeable about this? How can we trust you?
Well, I mean, I was alive when it happened, so it's not like I had to go find all this out yesterday. So these things aren't even denied. It's just putting the puzzle together. They did say Atta went to Prague. You can look up Atta went to Prague on Google, whatever, and see what they're saying about it. You can read the Weekly Standard, which was run by William Crystal and Robert Kagan, whose wife right now is this Deputy Secretary of State, Victoria Nuland, the architect for the war in Ukraine, essentially. They wrote these things out in their own policy papers. They wrote them out in their own reporting in the media. They were saying Iraq has WMDs. I mean, that's well known. Everybody knows that they said Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Well, okay, but specifically, what were the lies? They said that he had reconstituted a nuclear program by acquiring yellow cake uranium out of Niger, which is based on forged documents. So they're called the Niger forgeries. Just type in Niger forgeries and look at it. That was from Gurbarnafar and Michael Adine and a bunch of Iran-Contra goons. So the same people that lied about one event lied about the next. The other was Mobile Weapons Labs, which is from Judith Miller in the New York Times. I forget the date and month, but you can just search into that too. That they had allegedly mobile weapons labs capable of attacking us with VX gas and anthrax. Then there's Colin Powell's speech to the UN, right? Our Secretary of State, and you can Google image this, holds up a vial of, white powder, mock anthrax, and talking about, how much of this could wipe out a city and da-da-da-da. In his speech to the UN about Iraq breaking a UN resolution to justify the war, Jacques Chirac from France opposed him on that. So Colin Powell's speech, which he did not write, that's a George Tenet, Louis Leibowitz creation, included the anthrax myth, and they had pictures of cartoon mobile weapons labs. They had used cartoons because there weren't any mobile weapons labs or anthrax. But that was the legal case for the war in Iraq. That our own Secretary of State went to the UN with a mock vial of anthrax and made a speech about anthrax. So that whole thing hinged on these lies from these neocons. And they go, okay, well, checking Israeli intelligence are allegedly James Woolsey's sources for this meeting, and they're saying senior Iraqi officials, it's like unnamed source, gave anthrax to Mohammed Atta. Now they admit that, yeah, Iraq didn't have WMDs, they didn't have anthrax, and Mohammed Atta never met with Iraqis in Prague. They admit it. It was like what they call the informant was named Curveball. It's kind of like Deep Throat from Watergate. Somebody named Curveball was feeding them all this. But they weren't lied to. They went and got someone and told him, tell us this, right? Here's the lies we want to hear you say. Because they wanted to invade Iraq. And they made every lie they could. Israel wanted to take out Saddam Hussein. He supported Palestinians. And then you can look at after the fact, and anyone can search engine this too. Just write Israel, 77% of oil imports Iraq. Okay, and you'll get Forbes, you'll get the Jerusalem Post, you'll get Israel's own papers admitting that after the war in Iraq, over 3/4 of Israel's oil came from Kurdistan and Iraq. That oil didn't go to the United States. It went to the Israelis. Almost the entirety of their oil was dependent on taking it from Iraq. But Israel didn't attack Iraq. America and half the world did. Israel didn't send a single soldier. Because if they did, we'd lose all our Arab allies. But they used a false pretext to topple Iraq, which cost us trillions of dollars with a T. We lost about 6,000 servicemen. Really, it's in the tens of thousands after you include all the veteran suicides. I don't know why you wouldn't. And we got nothing out of it. But Israel got 3/4 of its oil imports. So it was good for them. It cut off ties to the Palestinians, and then they moved on to the next lie, saying maybe the WMDs were moved to Syria. And the same woman that lied about Mobile Labs, Judith Miller, is the one that lies about the mythical weapons moving to Syria. Like, here, we should just got invaded for having these. And of course, they killed Saddam and they killed his kids. So if he had any weapons, he would have used them to defend himself. But no. We're here, take these. We just got invaded Syria. Why don't you hold on to these? There were no weapons, and Syria didn't have any weapons, but that was the next one on the list. And the list is from Richard Pearl. He was the Defense for Policy Director in the Pentagon. Hardcore Zionist, caught in the 70s spying for Israel. He made a list of countries to invade. And there's video of, I believe it was General Clark, talking about, yeah, they're talking about invading 7 different countries, all this nonsense. This just came from upstairs. Upstairs meaning the Defense for Policy Office. Actually, it's not stairs. The Pentagon has ramps, or used to, on the lower floors that go up to the part that's shaped like a crown. It has these rings. And that's something a lot of 9/11 goofs got wrong. Like, there's no way a plane smashed through all these rings and all these walls. And like, you're correct, but those rings don't extend to the bottom floors. It really just hit the first floor. There's no rings on the bottom floor. So it only has to go through 2 walls. People get caught up in that minutia in physics, and they kookify stuff on purpose. The people that deny airplanes and all this BS about 9/11, they created a tar baby so that people like myself can't start talking about it without being associated to crazy people. And for your generation, you've seen the same thing happen with COVID-19. Like, COVID-19 was used, I mean, it's a real virus, but it wasn't as deadly as they said, but they locked down the earth over it, which devalued properties, and it allowed, people like Larry Fink to come in and buy things for pennies on the dollar, consolidate wealth, increase monopolies, and then you have this thing they keep calling a vaccine, but it's actually mRNA therapy that doesn't stop the virus, doesn't stop you from spreading the virus, and doesn't stop you from the symptoms, really. But you are rolling the dice with other side effects, including myocarditis and possibly blood clots. But okay, so we can have a conversation about how safe are these vaccines, or are they even useful? They're not, why do you have to have one to travel? The nonsense about masks, right? Like, what's it matter if you go into a restaurant wearing a mask and then you take it off when you sit down? It's just Corona theater, right? It's not scientific at all. But if you have someone running around going, "Ha, you think viruses are real?" Right? Like the virus denier group, if they got a big enough voice, then it makes everyone else that's skeptical of vaccines or the severity of COVID look retarded. And they do this with school shootings, right? Like school shootings are real, but instead of having a conversation about SSRIs, which might have been, antidepressants involved in a lot of these school shooters, or COINTELPRO, as in the case of that kid in Buffalo that shot all those black people in Buffalo. He was in a Discord chat room with like 6 people, and 2 of them were feds, right? So we don't talk about COINTELPRO. We don't talk about the possibility of SSRIs messing with people's brains, because immediately some loudmouth like Melonhead Jones gonna go to the Illuminati, blah, blah, blah. Alex is gonna come out there and say they're all crisis actors and it's fake or something. And then I don't want to talk about school shootings if I'm going to associate it with some ass clown that says that they're just fake, and I'm like, look, I ain't one of those people. But if I want to start talking about real hard documentation of 9/11 profiteering, it goes deep. But it's hard for me to get my foot in the door because people want to argue about whether or not planes even existed, right?
Yeah. So you're getting labeled as a crazy conspiracy theorist when you talk. Like everything you said is stuff that you could look up. Do you think that somebody like Alex Jones, and the common rhetoric that I see from extreme conspiracy theorists, is that he's controlled opposition? Do you think that he's a puppet, or is he actually just a little bit kooky?
I think the result's the same either way. So if he's just paranoid kook or something, or he's being handled by somebody that's got him compromised, because he did marry his masseuse after all, he's still, who cares? Like the result's the same. He's giving you garbage. Bruh. So I think he started off as a sincere, patriotic guy, and they got him compromised, and now he obeys, particularly on certain subjects. That's my opinion. But he could just be that stupid. Like, I can't prove that he isn't just nuts and maybe, too many drugs or whatever. But I don't think so. I think he's an intelligent guy that definitely knows better, and he's conning people on purpose. And when he went off script, then they went after him. But because he went off script on Syria. But with 9/11, he didn't really say the insane stuff as much as he just brought on the guys from Loose Change and AE 9/11, all the kooks, and gave them an audience of millions of people. And so the damage was irreversible because of him. Because the same breath, even if he said something correct about 9/11, and his next segment is about earthquake machines and microwaving $20 bills to destroy the IFD chips for the Clockwork Elves or whatever, you just shit in the punch bowl, And so he was the gift that kept on giving for a long time on conspiracy. And not everything he says is wrong. That's what makes it more poisonous, because you're mixing true things with completely insane things to make them appear nuts. Like, oh, that's an Alex Jonesism. And so you should not talk about, let's say, Operation Northwoods or something, which was real, and then in the same breath say shootings are fake. And it's just, liberals are always going to blame shootings on guns. And then the kooks are going to say the liberals fake that whole thing with actors because they're trying to take our guns. Like, no, liberals blame everything on guns, and they are real shootings. And maybe we ought to look at some of the other reasons, because you can kind of profile the majority of mass shooters are men around 20 years old, loners, and on SSRIs. But we cannot even get to start that conversation, because you have people running around acting like everything's fake. And they've done this with climate change. They've done this with September 11th. They did it with Jeffrey Epstein. They're doing it with COVID.
The vaccine. I get labeled as an anti-vaxxer, which immediately people dismiss you because you're seen as a crazy.
It's not even a vaccine.
It's experimental.
They keep calling it a vaccine.
Gene therapy. It's not a vaccine.
It's gene therapy. Exactly. It doesn't work. It's failed, and they fast-tracked it, and there's a lot of problems with it. And for some people, it's a coagulant, and it may be causing coincidences. Well, I guess on your show I could say this is on Rumble. It's causing heart attacks. It's like, and it is. And from the beginning, people like myself were saying, look, that's not a vaccine. Pfizer and these companies don't have a great record. Then you look at all the people they're involved with, Bill Gates, the depopulationists and stuff. He's a vaccine and drug salesman. He's made far more on that than he even did on Microsoft. He said it himself. The return on vaccines is the greatest, right? And he's also an Epstein guy.
Yeah.
A lot of high executives in Microsoft were Epstein Johns, meaning part of that human trafficking ring and raping little kids. And so these people are completely compromised.
All of them.
But he was there. They lied about AIDS. And I'm not saying AIDS isn't real or something. I'm saying in a lot of third world places, in certain countries in Africa, for example, the criteria for what counted as AIDS is way lower than somewhere else. They weren't basing it on an antibody test or something. They just based it loosely on, do you have these 3 symptoms or not? And it was very vague stuff like fever, rash, diarrhea. Well, that could be malnutrition. That could be malaria. That could be a whole bunch of stuff. But they wanted to act like AIDS is everywhere in Africa when it wasn't, because then they got to bring the AIDS drugs everywhere in Africa. And the AIDS drugs did more damage than AIDS.
So I have a question for you.
People drugs that destroy the red blood cells. And that was Fauci again.
He's been doing this since the 80s. My camera cut out. My question is, I agree with every single thing that you've said so far, but what advice would you give to people of my generation to not seem like crazy conspiracy theorists and to try to uncover the truth? How do you stay sane when everybody, like, not only will everybody call you crazy, but you will get censored? Obviously the same thing, but you know, people won't talk to you, people will call you crazy. What's the way to stay sane and proper? Because I think what happened, I don't think Alex Jones is a controlled opposition. I think that after doing this for so many decades, you know, you make a mistake sometimes, or you end up becoming a little bit schizo when everybody's attacking you. How do you talk about the truth and still operate in reality?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. So I would say, first we have to admit that kookification is going on. That, like, we call it the spectrum between the kook and the spook. The government puts some of these false stories out there itself. And then when somebody latches onto it, like saying, you know, the virus is actually, they're putting graphene in your blood for 5G or whatever, you know, someone, bullshit. David Icke would say, yeah, it's bullshit. They amplify that. Whereas they turn other people off. The kook stuff, you can watch kook 9/11 movies on YouTube with millions of views. They don't censor it. But you're not going to find any of my work on there anymore, right? And there's a reason for that. They want to dial that stuff up. So we cannot allow people like Stu Peters or whatever to be the leader of the anti-vax movement, because these are the same people. They don't think viruses are real. They think the earth is flat, like nutty stuff. You got to stay away from it. Just because someone is half correct, like it is 100% right to doubt the government and know that television news and everything except for maybe post-Elon Twitter is lying to your face, because you got a long track record of them lying. They're lying about Ukraine, they lied about Syria, they lied about Libya, they lied about Iraq, on down. They lied about the Gulf of Tonkin. They can go back as far as you want. They have a horrible and abysmal record. But that, just because they're wrong doesn't mean you replace it with something even dumber. And there's a big room for charlatans to come on and make a grand speech about how wrong they were about this or that. But then they give you their own spiel, and it's circus stuff, you know. Like, the official 9/11 story is baloney, but the sort of official, unofficial story is even worse, right? And like, you're never going to get to the bottom of it. So you have to separate yourself from the kooks and say, look, I'm not one of these people. And it's tempting, because if you want to become a grifter, you should join the sensationalist, because the censors will leave you alone and you can make money doing that. But if you want to actually have effective change and make the world better, you can't do that. You got to say no to the sensationalist and not be a grifter. And you can still make money telling the truth. It's just harder because you have to face the censorship. I don't think we can really fix things politically or culturally until we fix things in the media. I think everything's downstream from media. So if you want to get a better system of government, a better, I mean, you've covered all the cultural things ad nauseum, right? Like all the crazy feminists and all that. If you want to fix all that stuff, and you want to fix education, you have to fix the press. They have a monopoly of information. The reason they're able to do all these evil things, human trafficking, organ trafficking, sex slavery, war, sanctions that starve people to death, torturing people in Abu Ghraib, all these things that you and I would agree are horrible and shouldn't be done. How do they pull it off? They pull it off because they're able to lie to you. Right? If you want to get biblical or whatever, like the father of lies, right? The lie is what leads to every other form of evil. If they couldn't lie about weapons of mass destruction, there wouldn't have been a war in Iraq. If they couldn't lie about Gaddafi's, Viagra rape armies or whatever, there wouldn't have been an invasion of Libya. If they didn't lie about Assad gassing his own people, there wouldn't have been that. Wouldn't happen. If they didn't lie about the Gulf of Tonkin, it wouldn't have been in Vietnam. Their ability to lie predicates all the murder and rape and mayhem that comes after it. This is why telling the truth is so important. Truth will set you free. This is, this is something Muslims, Christians, everybody agrees on. Truth has to be your central virtue. So you have to support people who are telling the truth, because believe me, we're getting kicked around. And you have to tell the truth, or at least be honest, because you don't always know what the truth is. But be honest. If you make a mistake, like you were saying, somebody made a mistake, they say to me, then go back and go, you know what? I made a mistake. And continue to tell the truth. And the way to do that is we have to break this monopoly on media. Because they're able to lie to us because they controlled all the television channels. We had a brief window with YouTube before Google bought it, but then that went out, and so they control most of social media. Twitter's kind of a question mark. You can kind of tell some truth, but people are still getting banned on there, so it's nah. But we've got Rumble, we've got Odyssey, we've got BitChute, we've got Telegram, we've got VK. There are up-and-coming alternatives where you can get out there as a video platform. The Discord will ban you, Patreon will ban you, but we've got Substack, we've got Subscribestar. So, PayPal will ban you, but there are other payment processors. That's a hard one though, because there aren't many options there. And I've been banned on them all. So if I'm on it, it's okay. It's like basically if I'm allowed on, everybody's allowed on. And I think with Twitter, a lot of people who are still banned right now will be getting their account soon. I mean, I just got mine 7 days ago, and a lot of people got it back with me. So it's hard for them to clean out the bots, to deal with the advertising backlash and all that. But if we fix the media, if we can build up Rumble, the hell with YouTube, right? If we can build up Rumble and Odyssey, if we can build up Telegram, get VK, screw Facebook, then it diminishes their ability to lie. And we'll be able to tell the truth. And we'll be able to put the kooks in their place too. And we'll be able to put the spooks in their place. Once someone knows the truth, once someone has an understanding, like if they watch my films, there is no going back. It's like, no, you can't lie to me because I understand this stuff now, right? Educate yourself and spread it to others. That's how we win, is breaking the monopoly. And in my opinion, I focus more on building up alternative media because I feel like everything we want comes after that. If we don't have that, doesn't matter what you know, no one's going to hear you.
I have several questions that arise from that.
It was Lincoln's fault. No.
So a couple things. Your website is ancereport.com?
Yeah, ANC stands for anti-neocons.
Okay.
They're the ones that started most of the evil stuff. ancereport.com is my website. And then, and also, I have a Twitter now.
You're back on Twitter. But I'm wondering, you brought up that you need to tell the truth like Muslims and Christians, which I agree, like that's a core part of that philosophy. But why do you consider yourself an atheist if you align with a lot of Muslims and Christians?
Well, I believe in the ideology of Buddhists, Muslims, and Christians as far as making truth of principal value. I don't believe in the supernatural cosmological explanations that are in those religions.
You don't believe in God?
I don't think the earth was made in 6 days. I don't believe in that God.
Okay. And do you think that I've been talking to a lot of America First people, and I was working on Ye 24, and so you hear a lot of criticisms about the Talmud, but I don't like anti-Semitism genuinely. Mm-hmm. It seems like a lot of your criticisms are of Israel. So do you think, genuine question, do you think that the problem is Jewish people or is it Zionists?
Zionism, yeah, of course. Like, I don't some of the AF people get mad at me for not blaming the Jews. And I'm like, listen, like with Ye, his issue, I sympathize with him. I don't think he articulated it very well. The problem is with Jewish supremacy, not Jewishness. An ideology of racism, whether it's whites, Jews, blacks, whatever, is toxic. And the Israeli state thinks
they're the
God's
master
a real
race.
estate agent. And they're the master race. God gave them that land. They have laws that are based on your ethnicity. Like a settlement is for Jews and Jews only. Okay. But that's not a product of Jewishness. That's a product of racism, right? Like Europeans had colonized the Indians, had slavery, but that wasn't a product of their white genetics. It was a product of government, right? And so you can't blame, like, majority of rapes are by men, but the majority of men don't rape. Well, yeah, the majority of all these nasty figures and neocons and stuff seems to be Jewish, but obviously the majority of Jews aren't those, right? So you can't ascribe someone's behavior to some sort of genetic teleology. I don't do that. I think the problem is with how people are raised. It's very easy to interpret Judaism into a racially supremacist faith, because you could take, when Jacob became Esau and had the bloodline for the 12 tribes of Israel, like in the blood, meaning some kind of Darwinistic, racist interpretation. But, Jews that aren't insane and aren't Zionists would say, no, it meant chosen to spread the word of God, not chosen to be God's people in the sense of like better than all the other people. I mean, that wouldn't make sense, but it depends on how they interpret those lines, right? And it's a small minority of Jews that are the ones that Kanye's mad at. And I say what you're looking at isn't a product of just being a Jew. The problem, and it's no doubt that a disproportionate number of record executives, people in Hollywood, media ownership, our Federal Reserve champ, they're all Jews. But they didn't get that way because they're Jews, so they're just naturally evil or something. They got that way because it's the product of ethnic nepotism. It's racism with no stigma. If whites acted like that, it would get noticed and chastised immediately. But other groups are able, and blacks too, are allowed to work with an ethnic interest in mind and work around that as informing their position. So they could say, well, we're gonna have black entertainment, black this, black that. That doesn't bother me. But if you're going to start excluding groups for not being part of your clique, then's when you got an issue. I don't have a problem with the Irish love Irish stuff and Italians like Italians. I don't care. That's all good. Have pride in your history and stuff. It's all good. But what you don't do is then start saying, and others can't, right? And if someone will only hire from their own group, that's prejudice. And it's not like Jews got to be in the positions of media and record label executives in Hollywood because they're just real smart and better at it than everyone else. It's like, no, it's because there's a ethnic nepotism and they only hire within their clique. And so if you want to corner a market, and the Italian mafia does this too, right? They'll only hire others that are not only Italian, but also believe in a bunch of other things that they do. And so, yeah, Hollywood from its inception, it does have roots from organized crime, Jewish organized crime. And that is also tied to the film you were watching, Numek. They stole uranium out of the United States to help build nuclear weapons. You can't go back on that. Like, you've got the tiger by the tail. So you have to have a vested interest in controlling media, because once it's ever undone, all the crimes you already did are going to come above the surface. And so it becomes a kind of an existential crisis. Like, oh, we got to get this media. We can't let them talk. We have to censor this because they're already sunk in, right? You can't do much worse than stealing nuclear weapons and assassinating the president. Do or die.
Do you think that the West is doomed? And I'm guessing that's part of the reason that you moved to Japan is because you don't have an optimistic view of the West. I talk a lot about the problems in America and how I bet you can agree with the fact that a society runs better if they believe in some sort of God. And I think that's why the West is destroyed. But do you think what advice would you give to people in Gen Z, people like who watch my stream, a lot of them are American, and when I talk about like wanting to leave the West, they're like, "Oh, you're giving up," you know. And I would like to go sometimes to talk about Puerto Rico or Dubai or just getting out of this place. Do you think that that's a pessimistic view of what's going on, or do you think that's just the reality that the West has done?
I think we need to save the West, and I think it is salvageable. But I don't think I have to live there to do that. Like all the reports and stuff I'm doing from this chair, it didn't matter if I'm in Japan, Korea, North Carolina, which I was in for a few years. I have been back and forth. I don't have to, I don't need my kids going to school where they randomly could have shootings. And I like having the benefits of universal health care and things, you know, but I think the West is savable. I don't think you have to have God in that formula. Japan is, you know, 89% atheist.
But no immigration.
Functional country.
Very little immigration.
Yeah. Right, because if they had open immigration, they'd become China overnight. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have a huge wealth disparity between the third largest economy in the world, and China has more homeless people than Texas has people. Right? They'd all flood into Japan. You have to have borders. Okay, like you can't have a welfare state and open borders at the same time. I think the concepts of God are very useful if you're serious about it and you study theology and you really dig in as whatever your faith is. I think that's very useful and constructive, and it gives you, for a lot of people, it reinforces your moral views. Like you can come up with morals based on empathy and reason, but it reinforces that, gives it more authority, right? I think it's very useful, but I don't think the majority of people that call themselves a Christian or Muslim, this is why I don't use these labels, really take it very seriously. They just like have the minimal, like Christians just think they believe John 3:16 maybe, oh, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, and shall believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. They think there is a resurrection, heaven, hell, maybe they go to church on Christmas and Easter and they're done. Right? A lot of Muslims, they just, you know, they know Muhammad's the prophet, there's only one God, da 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 da. But they don't really read the text. They're not really like studying the books, and they're not discussing philosophy. They're just, I'm a such and such. I'm a Catholic, or I'm a Methodist. I'm a this. I'm a Sunni. And no, you're not. You have the absolute minimal beliefs so that you can belong to a group. But if you're not taking it seriously and you're not studying what you think is the Word of God, I don't think you think it is the Word of God, because if you really thought it was, you'd be reading it every day, because there'd be nothing more important than that.
Yeah.
So I respect the people that take it seriously, and I think it definitely improves their quality of life and all that, but I don't think people do. I think people's real religion is consumerism. I mean, like, look at all the stuff that's haram, and they do it anyway. Oh yeah, forgive me. Like, I love the Christian principles of forgiveness. I think that's essential in stopping revenge cycles. And I think you can learn a lot from these things, and you can drop the miracle stuff, or you can believe in the miracles. Either way, but the core values are important, and they stand the test of time because they work. However, I'm not going to force somebody that's a Buddhist or whatever to, no, you need God. Like, no, they don't. Like they found something else that works. You can find it in secular philosophy. You can find it in religion. I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think people are going to gravitate to different things, and it'll work for different people. What I hate, though, is what they've done is sort of the worst possible scenario, where they don't have secular philosophy or theology. They just have hyper-consumerism, where people are validated with an external locus of control, trying to gather status and just sitting there in the rat race. Another reason I moved to Japan, too, is the average weight of American women is 170 pounds. The average weight of American black women is 185 pounds. The average weight of Japanese women of the same height is 116 pounds. 116 pounds in the United States is like supermodel level. That is just normal here. And every time I go back, I'm shocked by the obesity and stuff. And I feel like that is a sign of a total lack of self-control.
Yeah.
They don't have anything in their life. They only not take religion seriously. They have no real aim. They're just eating themselves to death and spending money on BS because they're invalidated, attacked. They're kept at near panic levels all the time. They're constantly being lied to. And all that stress gathers up. And I guess they deal with it with donuts and chips or whatever. But they're completely aimless. And the West was never like that before. Whether it was through Christianity or whether it was through polytheism, which they had for a long period of time, with Romans and Norsemen and stuff, they always had more of a purpose in their life, and they always had nuclear families and good parenting, and all that's disappeared. The left has destroyed America. You got these baby mamas running around on welfare, kicking dad out of the house, no values at all about sexuality. I understand about you can have them overly oppressive as well, but you can go the other direction and say, yeah, whatever, yeah, lose your virginity at 15 and shake your can on OnlyFans, whatever. It's disgusting to me. I feel like, look what that's gonna do. And I feel bad for guys your age don't have a lot on the menu, like the quality of girls and guys, a lot of guys too, just addicted to video games, talk about sports, and the girls aren't interested. I'm seeing more and more of this division between the sexes that never existed when I was growing up. And then you have the pretend ones, right? Which I ain't gonna get into. Like that, you're delusional, right? You're either a man or you're a woman. If you break society at its base like that, though, which also stems back to what I was saying before about media, it's broken, and I don't think religion's gonna fix it, because religion is as religion does. You've got like good Christians like Ron Paul, or Muslims like Muhammad Ali or something, and then you've got Pat Robertson asking for money on TV and getting the diamond mines, right? It's the person morphs the religion, not the other way around. It's like a religion's a car. You can drive it the right way, or you can veer off the road with it. Like an evil person will make an evil religion, and a good person will interpret this stuff to be good. So something else before that has to be the core value, and the West has lost its way.
So how do we save it? I was optimistic about Trump in 2015, and I saw that you were too. I liked the debate you had with Destiny about Trump versus Hillary. I watched the whole thing today.
Well, I preface that with, I'm not a Trump guy. I'm an anti-Hillary guy, and I stand by that. Trump is a million times better than Hillary Clinton.
But still,
I wasn't like
still made a lot of mistakes.
He's still like, he didn't start any new wars. He got rid of the Paris Accords. He got rid of TPP. He lowered the corporate tax rate. He had the lowest unemployment. He did improve the standard of living for most Americans. But he had no tact. He assassinated Soleimani. He, did all these things for the Israeli. He did a bunch of stupid stuff too. However, relative to the previous presidents, it was night and day. Trump was way better than Bush Jr. or Obama. I mean, Obama turned Libya back into the Stone Age. He took a functional North African country and made slavery great again. They aided Al Qaeda in Syria. Like the crimes of previous administrations are so much worse. Right, Joe Biden too, funding neo-Nazis in Ukraine, all that. Trump was not what I wanted, but way better than the realistic alternatives.
But then what's the solution? If the destruction of the West, everything you said is stuff I talk about every single day on the stream. What is the solution? Is it just trying to speak on alternative media platforms? Like, is there a soldier that's going to come and get elected? What is the change? And this is part of the reason, and you accurately called out a lot of my flaws. I've been getting more into Roman Catholicism, which I grew up with, but I pretty much agree a lot of what you talk about. I like the ideas of Islam and Christianity, but I do have a hard time believing that the earth was made in 6 days, and a lot of the firmament stuff and flat earth stuff like that I have a hard time believing in. But I think
you're not supposed to take that literally. Like, I used to be a Christian, and we just took those metaphorically. You're not supposed to think that there's actually, a talking donkey and stuff like that. They're just parables.
Or that they parted the Red Sea or Noah's Ark. I understand. But then what is the solution to saving the West? It's hard to really believe that yelling on Rumble is going to fix a whole country.
No, it won't. But what? You don't really need this idea of we're going to flip all the masses. You don't. You just need to target intelligent and wealthy people, because they're the ones that have the power to actually change stuff. So for example, when I did have a YouTube and was allowed to talk, I got 28 pages of redacted information released about September 11th, which has allowed the victims' families to enter lawsuits against the Saudis, and maybe they're going to get some gains about that. I got, there was massive beach erosion in North Carolina. I'm from Hatteras Island, and I was able to organize and go down there and lobby, and we prevented it. We have beach nourishment now. millions of dollars and saved the beach, and that saved our community. I mean, imagine losing a beach on an island. You're it, right? Who was able to do that? Not by reaching millions of people interested in that issue, but being able to reach the right people. And so we have to start on locally. Like, I don't think libertarians need to be running for the presidency. They need to be running for the county commission and things like that. Clean up your own yard. There isn't an easy solution, but if you stay true, like Russia's going to win this war against NATO. They are. Like, that's a foregone conclusion. So they can lie and la all they want. But at the end, that's going to be the result. And the same thing with COVID-19. Like, now people are starting to look back and going, what were you saying? Like, all the people they dismissed, like, as they personally know people getting sick from the clot shots and stuff, they're starting to wonder, who are those people I didn't listen to before? Maybe I ought to go ask them about this, right? That's why it's important. Like, even when you're losing, stay the course, because in time, they're going to come back and revisit, and now they want to know. Like, a lot of people now, they want to know about 9/11 20 years later, after going through all the kook stuff. They're finally going,
is that true?
Sorry,
is that really true? I mean, but look at JFK, like, that all those files are being released and people don't really seem to even care. This used to be one of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. It's starting to be revealed as true, the conspiracy theory, but I don't really see anybody like up in arms about it. I don't see anybody talking about it.
Yeah, but I think it's mostly people that were alive when he was shot. And the thing about JFK is, I think there's huge interest in it, but people just sort of vaguely know, oh, they did it or whatever. They don't know who pulled the triggers, who organized it or anything. They just know it's conspiracy. And it's very hard for them to get to the bottom of it, because if you try and research JFK right now, you just pop up in Google or Amazon and start buying JFK book, you're going to need a long time, and you're going to come across a lot of red herrings and dead ends, right? And so it's going to take someone like myself to put out the documentary that explains it all. And that's what I did for September 11th. I've done that with Epstein. I've done that with the Newbeck film you're watching. Like, that's it. There it is. It takes time. But with JFK, yeah, that's a big one. And I don't think people lost interest. I think they just don't know what happened. They know it didn't happen. They know, like, it wasn't the lone gunman scenario, but they don't know. Some of them vaguely just say the CIA or whatever, but why and how and who? They still don't know. Unfortunately, that's one of the biggest puzzles, because JFK goes back to the Bobby Baker scandal. It ties into the illegal diversion of weapons out of Cuba. It's a bunch of things you have to already, an organized crime and da-da-da-da. You got to know a bunch of things in the preliminary before you can understand why he was killed and who did it. You really need like almost a course. JFK is not as simple as, like, RFK is much more simple thing. Eugene Caesar shot him in the back of the head. He was working for John Alessio. That's who killed RFK. JFK, more complicated. But I think the interest is there. The problem is, even if I sat here with you and explained everything that happened to JFK, who shot him, da-da-da-da-da, if I just sat and talked for the next 5 hours, cool, but how many people are going to see it? And it's going to have to compete with Alex Jones saying Executive Order 1111-0 against the Federal Reserve. Blah, 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 blah. Like, that stuff is so loud and out there and so wrong that even when someone tells you the truth, it's buried under the ether as stupid that sucks all the air out of the room. That's why I don't like the guy, even if he is sincere. And like, would you shut up about the executive order? That order passed. It limited silver certificates. Lyndon Johnson didn't reverse it. It had nothing to do with why JFK was killed. But I tell you what, you look into why he was killed, the main three theories is, oh, he was about to pull out of Vietnam, so the CIA killed him, or because he didn't give air support, even though he did, at the Bay of Pigs, or Executive Order 1111-0. All three of those are the ones people have heard the most, and all of them are dead wrong. And easily debunkable. That he wasn't getting out of Vietnam. They procured billions of dollars for the new fighter jet and toy. He's the one that sent the advisors and started Vietnam in the first place. Like, that isn't why. And this whole CIA did it stuff, or the mafia, whatever, That's out there in movies, right? There's the film JFK. Who's the executive producer? Arnan Milchan, the largest arms dealer for Israel, who's not mentioned in the film at all. And it's the whole thing's big swerve to be like, the CIA did it. You know, Dulles, and they throw out some names and stuff, and they don't explain it because they can't. Well, I think the interest is there for JFK, but the knowledge isn't. And unfortunately, until the right people have media, or the media is just fair, the kooks are going to win.
Does Elon Musk have good intentions, or is this all part of some bigger plan for Neuralink or something?
I think it overlaps with his personal interests, so we benefit. Like, even if he's unbanning everybody so he can gather information for his AI and stuff, we still got unbanned. I'll take it as a W. You can do the right thing for the wrong reason. He's very pro-Ukraine. He gave them Starlink. He's not like the White Knight or anything.
No.
But he's much better than the old boss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Dorsey and Frog or whatever. Like, those guys were abysmal, horrible. Like, everything got censored. Like, you couldn't talk. You had to have the right opinion on climate, on gender, on this, on that. Everybody got banned. I finally wasn't alone. I was like, "Welcome to my giant oven, everyone. Come on in, come on in. I've been waiting here for you."
What's your opinion on the 2020 election? Rigged?
Yep, I think it was definitely rigged in the sense that they suppressed information that was detrimental to the Biden family, particular Hunter Biden and his laptops, right? Yeah. They lied about Russia there too, like, that's Russian disinformation. No, it wasn't, right? The entire press was anti-Trump. The entire social media was anti-Trump. So right there you have election interference. And then I do believe that people are going to cheat if you make it easy enough, and with mail-in votes. It's a little bit suspicious to me that it just happened to be in the middle of the night, only in swing states and cities that Democrats run, with only Democrats counting the votes, that a bunch came in the mail. In like Pennsylvania, you had 800,000 consecutive votes for Biden and no one else. And when they cheated, it's like, well, how come the Libertarian candidate didn't get the 1% she'd been getting through the whole election? And then in the middle of the night, when you count all these votes, they gave some to Trump, but mostly to Biden, but none to the Libertarians. I'm like, wait, it was nationally 1%, and then in the mail, 0. Because they forgot to add those. So it's like, I think they just wrote in names. I don't believe in... they mess with Diebold or digital flipping or any of that, because that's the kook stuff. That's Linwood, Sidney Powell, Coca-Cola, server farm shootouts, QAnon idiocy. And the problem was, when we could point to very real election fraud through mail-in votes, people shied away from that and got away from that because the Q people were out there talking nonsense. And like Linwood, Kyle Rittenhouse will tell you what a snake that guy is. They were so loud and so amplified that people didn't want to be associated with it. And of course, those are the people on January 6th. And I don't believe January 6th was an insurrection of white supremacists.
No.
I think it was just regular people. They didn't bring weapons or anything. It was just regular people with American flags and stuff that went to the Capitol because in their minds, they believed the election was stolen and they were having a protest. The left did that all year, but violently, right? Set Kenosha on fire, annexed 6 blocks of property in Seattle. They murdered, they looted stores, they set churches on fire. They did all manner of violence. And the media is like, mostly peaceful protests, as there's fire in the background, right? They completely hijacked Black Lives Matter and Antifa.
Celebrities bailed them out.
Yes. Well, George Soros had paid off a lot of the district attorneys, and so they're not going to do anything. They knew they wouldn't get prosecuted. It's like San Francisco, you can steal $949 worth of stuff, not go to jail. If you do, you're out by tomorrow. And so people go in there with like book bags and just go to cosmetics and just dump them all in the bag, right? Well, I'm taking all of this stuff because they've legalized theft. The left has lost its mind. And that's on purpose. Like, you want to destroy the U.S., destroy women and you destroy society. It's like a man can mess things up, but women will wreck the entire society because they break, everything breaks. That's who raises kids. That's where everything starts with a woman. So if you start planting crazy ideas in her head, everything goes down. And there's been a sustained campaign to break up the family. There are people that want to destroy the West from within.
Who is that? Is it the Epstein's Island people? People in the chat are asking about Freemasons, Satanists. Who? Because I talk about this on my stream all the time about that. This is all manipulation.
Yeah, who is they?
Who is they? Like who created they, them? Who created feminism? Who created this baby mama, girl boss nonsense?
And pornography and the rest of it. Well, there is a common denominator. Oh yes, there's a common denominator. And when it got kind of close when you said Satanist, and in a way it is, but I'll quote Kevin Alfred Strom, often misattributed to Voltaire: "To learn who rules over you, just see who you're not allowed to criticize." We can criticize Trump and Biden. Who can you not criticize without getting debanked and canceled? You know, I know, and chat knows. Don't have to say it. That's why I have this thing. That's who did it.
I have my own too, but you couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who they is.
Right.
And they've worked it up to where, they hide behind the shield of, well, if you criticize what I'm doing, I'm saying you hate all of us and you're anti-Semitic. But it's Zionist. I mean, that group, through bribery and blackmail, has dug its claws in so deep. Like when you said the Epstein Island people, correct. But Epstein was working for Israeli intelligence. They were blackmailing and spying on U.S. science and technology for the state of Israel. Maxwell's father worked for Israeli intelligence, helped put Mordecai Vanunu in prison, the whistleblower on Israel illegally building nuclear weapons, which they stole from the United States. That's why Kennedy was killed, because he was going to inspect Dimona and show the world not only did Israel have illegal nuclear weapons and wouldn't sign on to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, they acquired it by stealing the trade secrets and physical material from the United States. That would have been the end of the state of Israel had Kennedy lived. They were done. But they had to get rid of him. But from that point on, with the honey traps, sexual blackmail, look at our Congress, right? No one agrees with anything they're doing. If you poll Americans, they're like, do you want open borders? No. No. Right? Do you want to spend this much money on Ukraine? Probably not, even with all the propaganda. No, they don't want that. Do you like giving corporate welfare to Lockheed Martin? No. No one likes corporate welfare. Like, no one agrees with anything they do, and yet they keep doing it all the time against our own interest. But you look at the press, you're allowed to criticize Republicans, you can criticize Democrats. There's a certain group you're not allowed to criticize. And that's how you figure out who's in charge. The ones you can't name.
That was my motto when I was still on mainstream platforms, is that if they censor it, it's true, because that just made the most sense to me. I came into streaming not really knowing much about what happens, but kind of having a nihilistic attitude towards the world after COVID. I'm sure a lot of men in my generation felt that way after being locked down and everybody's mental health being destroyed from not being able to interact. And
I can't imagine it. Like, I have something to compare it to, so I'm like, that's not normal. I have a foundation and like the before time, right? I can't imagine. Like, I have a son that's 13. He missed 2 years of school, basically, having Zoom classes and all this stuff, putting kids in masks. They don't get a chance to socialize. Like, we're going to see the psychological effects of this in the years to come.
Yeah. And so I started streaming with that motto, kind of being directionless. And I just figured, I mean, if they censor it, it's true. They put a warning for COVID over all this information, and none of this makes sense. So they must hide the real information because they don't want us to know the truth, because we're easily controlled. Do you think that that's the right motto to follow for anybody? And a lot of people watch my stream are truth seekers as well. Do you think that they should follow the idea that if they censor it, it's truth?
Well, not everything they censor is true, but like if you legit were calling for acts of violence or something. But yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. If it's censored, especially if the person or people have been censored and defamed, because tactic number 2 is defamation, right? If they can't kookify you and get you to bite into the turd sandwich, then they'll defame you. They'll call you a Holocaust denier, a racist, sexist, homophobe.
They're calling me racist. They're writing articles calling me racist, and I'm like, I don't even know who they think I'm racist to.
We're both mixed race, and yeah, we're racist, right? That's stupid. But it'll work. They say that because it works. Like, people's brains shut off at the R word because it's so fun to condemn races and they need a witch to burn, right? So it's like people love to attach themselves to an unarguable evil. Like we can all. That's why everybody bash on Hitler, because no one's going to defend him, right? It's like, well, yeah, you can feel good, get a good pat on the back to kick a dead horse, basically, because he's dead, he's gone. What are you talking about Hitler for? Like, we've got equivalents around today, right? It's the U.S. government that's killed millions of people after World War II and tortured people and flipped countries upside down and aided terrorists and all that. That's us. We are him. But no, you're right. Like, I think the new generation has the advantage of being able to see the censorship and be able to, even if it's just Rumble, whatever, we just need one thing to break the monopoly. They go, I'm not going to fall for that. When you find someone that's been censored, especially if they've been censored and defamed, when you hear stuff, all this defamation about people, you know, let's say there's somebody that got accused of human trafficking and rape right after being censored on every platform. It's like, you tried to censor them on everything. That didn't work because their stuff still pops up everywhere. So what do? You just make something up and go arrest them.
What's your opinion
then you
about?
Scratch your head.
What's your opinion about Andrew Tate and that message and everything going on? Obviously, you think he's innocent. I agree. But do you think that he was?
I think I'm going to presume innocence until proven guilty, right? Which we're supposed to do. I don't know if he's guilty of money laundering or something, maybe. But the other charges, I just don't see it. I'm like, nah, not. I've investigated actual human traffickers and pedophiles and stuff, and neither him or his brother fit that profile. Could be, but prove it. You know, you should not accuse somebody of something so horrible unless you've got some locked dead evidence, right? And the fact that they got censored on everything first was a huge warning. Like, they never got censored for bashing feminism. It's when they started talking about the clock shot in Ukraine and getting political that they're like, hey, shut these climate change. Yeah, they were like, shut them down, right? Because they got political.
Right.
If they just stuck to, you know, hit the gym, try to earn money, don't be a e-whore, whatever.
They would have been fine.
That would have been criticized, but it would have been fine. He wouldn't have been censored. Definitely wouldn't be in jail. But even if they are engaged in this stuff, that's not why they got arrested. Because there's lots of people that openly actually like engage in human traffic and, you know, groom little girls and stuff, and they get left alone. The reason they've been targeted is because of their political opinions. And again, I'm not saying they are guilty of that stuff. I'm saying even if they were, they would have been left alone because our Congress doesn't care. Look at the FBI. They were all over Twitter. We found out from Twitter files they were FBI employees working at Twitter, and Twitter had 290,000 people engaged in child porn and sharing kitty fiddling tapes of little babies getting abused, fingered in the butt and stuff, and all just the gross stuff you can imagine. Raping little kids, raping little babies, torturing that you don't even want to know. And Elon Musk gets in there within 10 days, boom, closes down all those accounts, shuts it down. Now, I find it impossible for the FBI to have been working at Twitter and not seeing all the pedophilia all over Twitter. But the head of Trust and Safety, Yoel Roth, was himself in agreement with pedophilia. He wrote a dissertation in college about how children ought to be able to use Grindr, which is a homosexual dating app for adults. Children should not be on dating apps with adults, gay or straight. But that's what he wanted. So that's, you know, you got the wolf in the hen house, and all these FBI employees did nothing about it, which means because they're not concerned about it. They don't really care about actual human trafficking or stopping pedophilia, grooming, or any of that, because they use that as a weapon themselves. And so if they're going after the Tates, it's like, oh, the U.S. Embassy got called. Like, what's your real motivation? It's because they had such outreach and they started talking about real issues. Like, imagine if I got on that show. Like, which I could. You know them. It could have happened tomorrow, right? Whew, that would flip shit upside down, right? So it's like, gotta get rid of him, right? It's why they punished Kanye so hard for a misspelling in a tweet. He was obviously trying to say DEFCON, not DEATHCON. DEATHCON's not even a word, right? He just made a misspelling, and they canceled his everything. They canceled his bank. They didn't even cancel Jeffrey Epstein's bank. His Deutsche Bank account is still moving money around. Aaron Endike and his lawyers and stuff are still moving money around. Glenn Maxwell's getting an interview with some BBC people. We can't interview Julian Assange. We're going to interview Glenn Maxwell, a serial child rapist and human trafficker who's already been convicted and sitting in prison. Okay. Sam Bankman-Fried is out on bail after losing $32 billion. Charges money laundering, da-da-da-da-da-da. Must be nice to be part of the privileged class. So I don't think the motivation to go after the Tates has anything to do with
the trafficking.
If someone said, oh, sure, I'm 18. Oh, shit, she's 17. Whatever. Something like that. I don't see it. They had plenty of money doing legal. You can call it sketchy and stuff, but it's not illegal. What they did, they had a business for a while. Cam girls or whatever, which is not illegal, and some people enjoy that, whatever. I used to shit on simps, but I feel sorry for them. Like, man, you're fat, or maybe you're handicapped or whatever. That's the best you're gonna do is a girl on a camera. Let them have it. Like, just let them enjoy that. Who cares? Doesn't hurt me. But I don't like the business, to be honest. But I'm starting to increasingly have more sympathy for the guys that engage in that, because they're really just depressed and don't see a way out.
They're lonely, yeah. And that's the rise of.
Lonely.
It's a perfect example of you saying if they destroy the minds of the women, then everybody suffers. They've
given their life savings, man. And I'm like, well, you can look at porn for free if you want to. It's not hard to find on the internet.
And they shouldn't watch porn regardless.
They shouldn't do that either. But it's like, if all you needed is to see a naked woman, you don't have to pay any money. There are people who will buy a cam girl and they're not even engaged in nudity or porn. They just want to talk to them or play video games with them or just have a friend. Like, they're buying friends. It's so sad. I want to help all this. I'm like, God, man, but they live in a scenario where it's like they're constantly judged if you use the wrong pronoun or say the wrong. It's just Karen's culture, and I'm like, wow. No wonder you'll pay to have someone pretend to be kind, sweet, nurturing, and caring because they don't exist in your bubble.
Yeah, in the Me Too movement, guys are afraid of getting caught in some scandal. Everyone gets in trouble. Every single influencer my age, any male influencer gets.
You need a contract before you have sex.
You need an NDA for a kiss. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not over here. Like, East Asia isn't like that. Women are still feminine, men are masculine, don't have those problems.
I'm jealous.
So. Come all you need is an airplane ticket. I'll show you around. You would love Japan.
I haven't been yet. I have one last question. I do have to get going on Fresh and Fit. I'm co-hosting. I do want to get you on again this week. This is I feel like we can talk for hours, and my chat really appreciated this. But what's your advice because everything you said I agree with, and I have a harder time articulating it. But it sounds so obvious when you say it right now. You talk about everything that I talk about on stream. How do I get through to people? And we've debated a lot of the same people. Like, how do you get through to people that adamantly want to believe in the powers that be, in the system that we're in so much? How do you get through to them and simply explain that, of course, they want us to be slaves. Of course, they want us to be controlled. Of course, they don't have our best interests in mind.
Here's an interesting or kind of strange answer. You can try to give them all the information and all that, but I don't think people cling to bad ideas necessarily because they lack intelligence or something. I think it's more of a psychological issue than it is an intelligence issue. And there's correlation. This is just correlation, but people who lift weights and work out and stuff, their political spectrum shifts to the right. It's like when someone improves their life and they're not so filled with resentment and hate, they're able to see more clearly. Like, they want to cling to all these groups. If you've ever read the manifesto about industrial societies, it's the Unabomber Manifesto. And yes, I know what he did, and screw him for that. But what he wrote is so eye-opening about the psychology of leftists. And that's where you have to unpeel the layers, because like whatever you say, it just, they're on pure heuristic mode because they've identified with this victim group and they're stuck on it for all these psychological reasons. That's the part you got to fix, and they just need to improve their life. A lot of people, I see them just raging out online. I know you thought this too. You're like, man, that guy needs to get laid. It would fix him. Like, a lot of people just
need to go
to pee.
outside. They need to go get in the gym. They need to get some sun.
You got to fix women. Like, if there's a direct correlation too with like the fatter the women are, the more violent the country is. That's a funny thing, you know. I think you saw my graph about the longer the eyelash, the more delusional. But for real, like real fat,
graph.
When women are fat, the men are violent. Like you look at the murder rates and all that. Like, where are women really skinny? In Japan, Korea. Like, what's the murder rate here? I don't think Abe is the last person that got shot in Nara, and we hadn't had a homicide, not only with a gun at all, in our prefecture since 2015. Right? Like, no state can boast that in the United States. But we have beautiful women and feminine women. Like, you gotta fix the girls to fix everything else. Everything else unzips when you get rid of feminists.
Well, I'm about to go try and do that on a panel full of girls. I don't know if you've seen Fresh and Fit.
I have. Is it Myron on there?
Yeah.
Is that his name? Yep, I've seen it. Well, I see in TikTok, the short ones.
You're on TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, I can never get more than I can't put any of my videos on there without getting banned.
Yeah,
so I just sit and watch them, because if I put something up, I'm gone right away. But yeah, I'll share with you the current one I have. It'll be a comment.
I don't use TikTok. I'm afraid of surveillance, and I don't want the CCP to be
I agree. Well, they don't. The TikTok in Asia is different than the U.S. I don't get all the dancing heinies and stuff. Like, I'm over here, it's mostly like videos about engineering and stuff. I got a lot of astrophysics on my TikTok. I'm learning about, because my kids are real interested in the solar system, and so it's all in my feed, learning about different moons and stuff.
Mine is just, I download it and it's just teenage girls twerking, and I uninstall it.
Well, unfortunate, but I have seen Fresh and Fit on there from, I guess, maybe I clicked a link to that, but I enjoyed watching that. I was friends with Kevin Samuels before he passed away.
Do you think he was assassinated?
No, I think he had to take the vaccine to travel, and it caught up to him.
Wow.
He was in his 50s and in pretty good shape, and he was actually in the act when he passed away.
Right.
And with a nurse, by the way.
Yeah.
It was a heart problem, and now we're seeing a lot of people with heart problems, and he would have had to have taken that, because he traveled around everywhere, and you weren't allowed at first. You know, you needed a vaccine passport, and I think he was another victim of a coincidence.
Oh, Ryan, what's your Twitter? What's your website is ancreport.com, and your reinstated Twitter is what?
It's Rye Liberty. RY Liberty. Yep. All one word. That's my Twitter. I'm already causing a storm over there. And then, yeah, my website has links to all the other stuff, Substack, Rumble, Odyssey, and so on. So we got a Telegram. Everything's on ancreport.com. That's where you can find our stuff. Our work on 9/11, Epstein, RFK, JFK, all the taboo stuff you're not allowed to talk about. But I'll let you get on Fresh and Fit. I don't want to make you late, but yeah, I'll probably tune into that, actually. So
it was great to have you on. I would love to have you on again. I think there's so much more that I want to ask you about. And if you're free sometime this week or next week, I think it'd be good, because everything you're talking about, I think, is really necessary to hear with the next generation. And that's definitely my demographic. And I appreciate the work you do.
Excellent, man. Well, I'll be here. Hit me up on Twitter. I have a Discord now. I had to make a new name just to do this show.
Well, if you get banned again, make another one, and we can talk again.
Yeah, well, we'll just keep doing whack-a-mole. I'm good at that game. I'm a black belt in avoiding censorship now.
Okay.
Take it easy, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Ryan Dawson, man, great interview. That was big W's in the chat. I have to get going. I wanted to keep going, But it's kind of good because it you know, now we want to keep talking to him. We'll have him on stream again. Big W's, bro. ANCReport.com and at RyLiberty, RY Liberty on Twitter. I knew this was going to be great. Shout out to all the schizos that have been suggesting this interview since back when I was on YouTube. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I pretty much agree with him on absolutely everything. I think he has, I think he sees the world for what it is. Thank you for the 50 El Dorado Patron. Israel killed JFK. Sure, I want to see his documentary about it when it comes out. Jade says, W. Ryan Dawson, dope stream. Sneako, this is nice and short. Make sure if you missed it, the full stream is going to be available on Locals. You can press the join button right here. And I do have an online course about making money online called The Creativity Kit. It's thecreativitykit.com. That's releasing in 1 week. Just having 1,000 members, and it's like my private community. All the questions you have about content creation, making money online, and bringing on a lot of valid professors that know how to make money online. And that's where you can, if you want to co-communicate with me directly. Thank you. Thank you a lot to Ryan Dawson. I appreciated that. Tune into Fresh and Fit. I'm not sure. They got a strike on YouTube, so I'm not sure if it's going to be on Rumble, but I'm sure you'll find there are Fresh and Fit on Rumble, Fresh and Fit on YouTube. I will be hosting tonight. Fresh is busy twerking in Barbados. And again, you know, you guys see me debate with Destiny all the time. The one person that Destiny refuses to debate again is Ryan Dawson, ironically. He'll debate me nonstop because, you know, Destiny can out-debate me. There's no doubt. I think I'm getting better, but Ryan Dawson, they had one debate on Trump versus Hillary back in 2015, 2016. And just listening to that today, it's unbelievable how much geopolitical knowledge Ryan Dawson has. He's extremely impressive, and his documentaries are really great. ANCEReport.com. I was watching them all today doing research for this interview. The amount of research this guy does, it's like it. You know, I don't see where there would be any grift or any criticism for what he's done. I've yet to find it, and I appreciate his time. Of course, we're going to bring it on again. No, and Destiny, he doesn't want it. He actually refuses to debate him. And I respect Destiny. I think his debating skills are some of the best I've ever seen. And the fact that he refuses to debate this guy must mean that Ryan Dawson knows something that he doesn't. So, yeah, his Twitter is Ry Liberty. I put it in the chat 5 times, at Ry Liberty, RY Liberty. It's there in the chat. Make sure to join Locals if you missed any of it. Make sure to join the Creativity Kit. February 1st, that's when the 2.0 is dropping. 1,000 members, and I'm closing it out. I want to be able to focus on those students. Tune into Fresh and Fit. I'll see you guys, W Daily Streamer, every single day, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, rumble.com/Sneako. I want to be able to go and bring on different guests like this, bring on a variety stream. Can't just yell about they, thems, and blue-haired, gender-fluid feminists. You got to have, I want to talk more about geopolitical issues and dive into conspiracies. We have a privilege on Rumble now. Beating the big tech cancellation, there's still 8,000 people in this stream. The fact that I was able to be canceled and still have an audience like this is, I am impressed with myself. So make sure to follow the stream too. Follow right here. We just hit 170,000 followers. I want to get to 500,000 this year, 2023. And you heard the man. Getting in the gym will start to wake your mind up. Do some push-ups, get in the gym, beat the soy boy mentality, and you'll start to wake the fuck up. Because nobody on the left, men on the left, don't go to the gym. Look at them. Why would they? Why would they? Once you start to get your body right, you get your mind right, and then you really wake up. W Convo, I appreciate that. Best interview you've done, brother. I barely even did, what I asked, like 5 questions? That was easy. I just had to listen. This guy could talk. Shout out to Ryan Dawson. I'm going to have it on again. Thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.